This week has seen turbulence in Boeing 777 and 787 operations in the US. Telecom providers AT&T and Verizon are grappling with the aviation industry and regulators as to how to safely roll out their 5G networks. Last week, the FAA published NOTAMs banning the performance of auto landings and radio altimeter-based automated flight maneuvers at 100 airports across the country, citing concerns that the January 19 launch of C-band 5G networks could interfere with aircraft radio altimeters. The telcos insist that the technology is safe, however agreed to a 2-week delay in the rollout earlier in the month. The FAA is in talks with the telecom providers to expand their 5G buffer zones around 50 major US airports. Currently, only the last 20 seconds of flight are protected. The FAA wants to see that zone extended in line with international norms. By January 17, the FAA approved 2 models of radio altimeter for use, covering about 45% of commercial passenger jets flying in the country. Airbus independently assessed their A380 and are satisfied that it can operate in the 5G environment. Notable emissions are Boeing's 777 and 787 families. On Tuesday, Emirates, the world's largest operator of 777s, as well as JAL, ANA, and Air India, all announced flight cancellations as a result of the potential radio altimeter interference. Amid the mounting pressure and looming spectre of potential widespread flight cancellations, Verizon and AT&T agreed once again to delay their rollouts near airports. On Thursday, Emirates announced that it would resume its complete United States network by Saturday, though Emirates President Sir Tom Clarke called the 5G rollout utterly irresponsible. And so the mess continues to unfold, and both parties to argue. Aviation regulators have emphasized their commitment to safety and limiting the risk of flight disruptions as 5G rolls out. Meanwhile, telecommunications experts say there is little or no risk to altimeters from 5G, and that the aviation business has had years to prepare for what little risk there is. A former Boeing engineer said in a New York Times article that the most likely solution is swap out the altimeters, adding that could take years. Any solution will require agreement from both the aviation industry and the telecom providers. Given their radically different perspectives on how 5G may impact aviation, reaching any consensus may be difficult. On Wednesday, January 19, American Airlines Flight 38 departed from Miami bound for London. The Boeing 777 tracked northeast for about an hour, until the flight crew requested a return to Miami. The reason? A disruptive passenger refusing to comply with federal mask requirements. I'm sure they were very popular with the other 128 passengers. In January 2021, the FAA announced a zero-tolerance policy for unruly passenger behaviour after numerous assaults on cabin crew during 2020 due to pandemic regulations. Penalties can include heavy fines and jail time. Over the course of 2021, the FAA logged 5,981 reports of unruly passengers, with 4,290 of those being mask-related incidents. Since reaching record highs that year, the reported rate has dropped by about half. But there's more work to do, according to the FAA. The aircraft was instructed to perform a go-around approaching Miami because another American Airlines aircraft was stuck with no power on the runway. Law enforcement met Flight 38 when it arrived back at Miami International Airport, and the passenger was escorted off the plane by Miami-Dade Police Department officers. The flight was cancelled and passengers rebooked. We thank our crew for their professionalism and apologise to our customers for the inconvenience, American said in its statement. On Tuesday, January 18, Emirates Flight 225 was en route over the Barents Sea from Dubai to San Francisco when the crew reported control problems and requested a diversion to Murmansk. Half an hour later, they re-requested a diversion to Yekaterinburg, then finally changed their minds again and headed for St. Petersburg. 45 minutes before arriving in St. Petersburg, the crew declared an emergency and began their descent. After more than 10 hours in the air, the aircraft landed in St. Petersburg safely. The exact nature of the control problems has not been elucidated by Emirates. On Friday, the aircraft was ferried back to Dubai to return to service. Picture this. You're a Dash 8 pilot living your best life flying around the gorgeous Maldives. You're operating Flight 247 from Hanamadu to Mali on the evening of Tuesday, January 18. You backtrack down the runway, turn around and prepare to depart when the windshield bursts into flames and cracks in front of your face. For one unlucky crew, they don't need to imagine. The crew ordered an immediate evacuation to be executed on the runway, and the airport's fire and rescue services attended to the aircraft. There were no reported injuries to any of the 35 people on board. Maldivian's Dash 8-200 fleet has an average age of 24 years. On the day of this incident, the airline announced it was acquiring 2 ATR 72-600s and 1 ATR 42-600 to start replacing the aging Dash 8 fleet. The first ATRs are due for delivery later this year.